Siti Adhwa Athaillah, and I'm gonna do a presentation of the project-based learning and morpho-phonology subject. The topic that I'm gonna take today is about a free and bound morpheme. There's gonna be two parts. The first one is the topic that I'm gonna talk about later on, and then the second part is about the case study. Let's just continue to the video. Okay. First thing I'm gonna talk about is about free morpheme. Free morpheme is a word element or morpheme that can stand alone as a word. And free morpheme itself has two types. First type is the lexical one. Lexical morpheme. Here I'm gonna show 5 examples of it. First up is the color yellow, and then dance, water, car, and run. And lexical morphemes, basically they can stand alone as a word without and still have like a meaning. For example, if I say water, you can all know what does it mean. Like it doesn't need any extra to explain what is it. And then the second type of free morpheme is functional morpheme. Functional morpheme is a free morpheme that has a role as the connectors in a sentence. For functional morphemes, I have these examples. I have 4 examples of it. There is an article, prepositions, conjunction, and pronouns. For the next part is bound morpheme. What is bound morpheme? Bound morpheme is a type of morpheme that cannot stand alone as an independent word. So bound morpheme, they need to be attached to some other words. It can be prefixes or suffixes to their base word. For the bound morphemes, I have 2 types of bound morphemes here I'm gonna show. The first type is inflectional morpheme. What is inflectional morpheme? Inflectional morpheme can modify a word's form to express grammatical features like tense, number, possessions, or comparison. Without changing the word's core or grammatical category. And then there's an example here, cars. There's the suffix as at the end of the word car. It marks the plurals or number of the car. Basically, if you added the as at the end of the word, it means like plurality. And then the last example is sleeping. Sleeping is indicate the present participle of the word sleep. For the second type of bound morpheme is derivational bound morpheme. What is derivational bound morpheme? Derivational bound morpheme is a bound morpheme that using affixes added to a root or base word and creates a new word or a new form of the word itself. The derivational morpheme often change the meaning and also change the grammatical category of the base word. For derivational morpheme, as you can see here, the example, like the first example, I'm gonna use the word unfair. So as you guys know, unfair has a base word from the word fair, right? And then if I'm gonna change it to the derivational morpheme, I'm gonna add like the prefixes unfair. It's gonna change the meaning, right? The fair in the positive way, and then unfair is the negative way, or the word fair. But both of them, fair and unfair, is still the same grammatical category, like it's still a verb. But if we have the suffix ness at the end, like from fair to unfair, and then the unfairness, if we add both prefixes and suffixes, it can change the meaning from verb, fair and unfair. If we add the ness, it's become noun. Like unfairness, it was the noun. See here, there's another example. If I'm not mistaken, I added like 5 examples. You can pause the video if you wanted to look at the example. Moving on to the second part of the video is the case study. First case study, there's this sentence. I unlike going to crowded places, but my friend likes them. So in this sentence, we can identify both free and bound morpheme. In the free morpheme section, here, the table, there is the word I. Like is like the free morpheme of the word unlike. And then go is the free morpheme of the word going. And then we have 2, crowd. Crowd without ed is like free morpheme of the word crowded. And then place is a free morpheme of the word places. And then we have but, my, friend. And then like is the free morpheme of the word likes. And then them is the free morpheme. And for the bound morpheme section, we have prefix "an" in the word unlike, and then suffixes in the word going, and then the suffix "ed" in the word crowded, and then suffix "s" in the word places, and suffix "s" in the word likes. Here is the explanation of prefix "an" and suffix "s. In the previous table, there's two affixes used in the sentence. The first one is prefix "an" and then the second one is suffix "s." For the prefix "an" is an example of derivational bound morpheme because it has the meaning of the opposite of or the negative of the root word. Like in the word unlike, it was the opposite meaning of the word like. Unlike here indicates dislike or do not like. And then for the suffix "s" an example of inflectional bound morpheme, indicating a plural. So at the sentence, the suffix "s" in use in the word places and also likes. On places, it means more than one place. Here are the supporting theories of the first case. The first one is a theory from Bauer, or the second theory is from Fromkin. Continue to the next case study. For the second case study, the first is to identify which morphemes are inflectional and which are derivational. There's 4 words here. As you see here, the table, there's the word. I was classifying to the word pair, base word, affixes, and then the types of morpheme. First one is manage, and its pair was management. Base word is manage, and for the affixes, it use suffix ment. For the types of morpheme, this is derivational morpheme because it adds suffix ment. In the word talk to talking, the base word is talk. The affixes we use suffix ing. For the types of morpheme, this is inflectional morpheme because it doesn't change meaning of the word. For the third word is hope, become hopeful. The base word is hope, and then for the affixes we use suffix full. Types of morpheme is derivational one because from hope to hopeful, it's changed the form. Verb hope is verb, and then for hopeful is adjective. And the last one, play to play. Base word is play, and then for the affixes we use suffix ed. And the types of morpheme is inflectional because they still the same meaning. Moving on to explain the differences in meaning, grammatical function, and word class change. The first one is manage to management. There's a change in the meaning from manage to management. Manage is a verb, and then for management is a noun. It represents action or result. And for the grammatical function, it derives a noun, and word class change was changed from verb to a noun. And then the second one is talk to talking. It's for the meaning change, it indicates progressive or continuous act. Grammatical function, it marks tenses because it's use suffix ing and it marks like progressive tense. And for the word class change, it's from talk. It's still same actually, still verb, but for talk is like the base word, and then talking is the progressive form. And then for hope to hopeful, for the meaning change, it create another meaning. Hopeful, it means full of hope. And grammatical function, it derives an adjective. And for the word class change, it changed from the word hope is a verb and changed to hopeful, which is an adjective. Play to played, for the meaning change, it changed to past tense. And for the grammatical function, it marks tenses because, as I said before, as the meaning change, same as the meaning change, it changed to past tense because it was added the suffix ed, which mark already been happened in the past. And for the word class change, it's the same as the talk and talking. They both still as a verb, but there's a different form. So play is like the base word, and then played as the past. The tree structure of each word. For management is a noun, right? So we divide it into manage and month. Okay, management itself is a noun because they're divided into two, manage and month. Month is an affixes, and then for the word manage is the verb. As you guys can see here, the tree structure, we wrote the type of bound morpheme below of the affixes. For the theories, according to George Yule, there are two main categories of bound morphemes, and Fromkin states that the reflectional morphemes add meaning and can change the word class, often forming new words. And inflectional morphemes, by contrast, alter a word's form to indicate grammatical features like tense or plurality, but do not change the core meaning of the word class. Moving on to suppletion. In this case study, for the past tense of the word go isn't goat with ed at the end, but we change the whole word into went as its past tense form. The explanation here, so why went cannot be explained through regular morphological rules. Here the explanation is went is the past tense form of go, but it doesn't follow the regular past tense formulation rule of adding ed to the base verb go to goat. Okay, if we added the ed at the word go to goat, it become incorrect. So that's why go to went. This change from go to went is becoming a suppletion. Okay, this is the explanation of suppletion, a linguistic phenomenon where we use a total different word to form a grammatical form instead of following usual patterns of adding endings or changing the word regularly. To simplify, suppletion is occur when an irregular form of a word isn't ends with suffix ed or s or any other endings or suffixes, but by using a different complete word. Here is 5 examples. The first one that we already talked about is go to went, and then eat to ate, come to came, good to better, bad to worse. The next is how suppletive forms are represented in mental lexicon according to morphological theory. Before we continue, I think it's better for us to know what is mental lexicon first. Mental lexicon is like the brain's personal dictionary, where all the words a person knows are stored. It includes information about each word's meaning, pronunciation, grammar, and how it's used. Unlike a printed dictionary, the mental lexicon is dynamic and interconnected, allowing people to quickly find and use words when speaking, listening, reading, or writing. Usually, it's stored as a complete separate words rather than being formed by regular rules like adding endings, and this means our brain memorizes the word went as the whole word linked to go, but not created by just adding the endings ed. The statement comes from studies showing irregular forms have special storage and retrieval methods in the brain. You can check the link. And next is research saying that we remember suppletive forms as an exceptions, accessing them indirectly instead of breaking them down into smaller parts. This helps us use irregular forms properly, even though they don't follow normal patterns. For example, instead of thinking go plus ed becomes goat, we simply remember the past tense forms of go is went from our memory. Here is the supporting theories. You can pause it if you want to see the theory more. Moving on to the fourth case. Here we're gonna talk about compounding. The first case study is to decompose these words into morphemes. Here is the table. First one, I divided them into compound words and then the morphemes. So the four words are the compound words form. The first one is greenhouse. For the morphemes, we use two, which is green and house. For blackboard, we use black plus board. Smartphone, we use smart plus phone. And for pickpocket, we use pick plus pocket. For the second number is to identify whether each compound is endocentric or exocentric. For endocentric one, so endocentric is the meaning is based on the head or final part, and the compound is the subtype of the head. For the example, greenhouse is a type of house, and then blackboard is a type of board, and then smartphone is a type of phone. Three of the words has the meaning of based on their head word. For the exocentric one, exocentric, the meaning isn't based on the head. The compound doesn't fit as a subtype of the final word. So for exocentric, we have the example pickpocket. So pickpocket is a person who picks pocket, not a type of pocket. For the third one is how meaning emerge from the compound. Does the meaning depend on head or modifier? For the endocentric one, the meaning depends mainly on the head or the second morpheme, while the modifier describes it. For greenhouse, it means a house that is green or a house that's full of plants. Okay. For exocentric, the meaning isn't tied to the head or the modifier alone. The compound meaning is broader or metaphorical. Like a pickpocket, it means a person who likes to steal a pocket and not a type of pocket. How stress pattern affects compound interpretation. Like example, blackboard versus black space board. Compound nouns usually have the primary stress on the first morpheme, like example, greenhouse and then blackboard. In the blackboard, it has the stress on black, means a special kind of board used for writing. But for blackboard, black space board, it has the stress on the board. It means a board that is black in color. For the supporting theories, I use Lieber's theories. And for the second theories, I use Aronoff's theory. For the last case study, which is case study 5, we're gonna identify the word unbelievableness. The first one is we need to identify and classify each morpheme of the word unbelievableness. We identify and classify them into free or bound, and then inflectional or derivational. First, in the word unbelievableness, there is the prefix "un". Prefix "un" is gonna get into the bound morpheme 1. We use prefix, and it's the derivational bound morpheme. And then for the next one is believe. Believe is like the base word, okay, the root word, and of course, if we talk about the base word or root word, it's gonna be a free morpheme. And then the suffix able is a bound morpheme, and then it's a part of derivational. The suffix able, it's indicating adjectives. And for last is suffix s, is a bound morphemes, and it's a derivational, indicating nouns. From believe and unbelieve, it's a verb, and then if we added the suffix able, becomes unbelievable, which is an adjective. But if we add another one, ness, it becomes noun. Here are the breakdown of the morphological tree diagram. And number 3, how both derivational and inflectional process interact to create the final word. The first one, the word unbelievableness only use derivational morphemes. There is no inflectional morphemes using suffix s, like tenses or number are present. And then there's a change in the word class, meaning from verb, which is believe and unbelief, adjective, which is believable or unbelievable, and then for noun is unbelievableness as a complete, because the using of derivational morphemes. The order of affixation affects meaning. Applying able before ness results in the noun form, indicating the quality of being unbelievable. Last but not least, there's a supporting theories. Based on both theory, That's it. Thank you.